As per WHO statistics, smoking is the single most common preventable cause of disease and death worldwide. Every year, almost 5 million people lose their lives due to smoking related ailments. Around 5 lakh people every year die due to exposure to second hand smoke. In spite of this, a lot of people get addicted to smoking. Now, when we talk of tobacco addiction, we have either smoking form of tobacco, in which we have cigarettes, bidis, pipes, cigars, or we have smokeless forms of tobaccos like gutka, chaini, kheni, mawa, all these things which are available in desi in our country. It has been seen that in spite of knowing all these things, a lot of people have addiction to tobacco. Now the pertinent question to ask is, why do people start smoking? Why do people initiate themselves into this habit of smoking? A lot of us also during our teenage years smoke out of curiosity, which is very true. A very famous superstar from South India, who is the Thalaiva, has a very unique way in which he flicks the cigarette up, lights it in the air, and then he catches it in his mouth and then he smokes. So many people watch these superstars on the silver screen and they try to imitate them. They try to derive some fun out of it or just for pleasure. Moving to our Hollywood counterparts, a very iconic scene from the very multi-Oscar winning movie The Godfather. Here you can see Mr. Marlon Brando with a thick Cuban cigar in his hand with a thick plume of smoke. This scene would not have been so iconic if it would not have been for that cigar. That is what the people think. So many people associate smoking with a macho image also. One of the reasons. Interestingly, a study conducted by WHO showed the various reasons of smoking, why people smoke, all their friends smoke, it helps them relax. These are some of the common reasons. To very frivolous reasons like they have a right to smoke because it is a free world. It is their right, they will do whatever they want to do. These are some of the reasons why people smoke. Now here we show you the non-smoking forms of tobacco. Our very famous celebrities endorsing these products also, which is the truth in our country today. A fun fact I would like to share with all of you, a very famous Indian company which manufactures tobacco products, it has been seen that it has been performing phenomenally well in the stock market over the past 25 to 30 years. If you would have invested 2 lakh rupees in 1995 in this company, today it would have been worth 2 crore rupees. So I just want to bring to your notice the fact how big a role the tobacco industry plays, not just in our country but worldwide. So basically what constituents are present in tobacco smoke. Now when we light up a cigarette, it is estimated that there are around 4,000 compounds which are contained in the cigarette smoke. WHO has conducted a number of studies in which we have seen that more than 60 of these compounds are known to be carcinogens. Now these are some of the products that are contained in the tobacco smoke: carbon monoxide, acetone, arsenic, butane, cadmium, tar, formaldehyde, ammonia. All these things are contained in the tobacco smoke. Now the major constituent of tobacco is nicotine. Various studies have shown that the addiction potential of nicotine is more than the addiction potential of heroin and cocaine. So it is really grim statistics. We would like to discuss the adverse effects that smoking has on the body. Now there is not a system in the human body which does not get affected by smoking. Smoking increases the risk of cancers of the oral cavity, cancers of the lung. Smokers are more likely to have COPD. Smokers are at a higher risk of having pneumonias. Smokers have a higher chance of getting ischemic heart disease and coronary artery disease. They are at a higher risk of stroke. In younger people, a lot of them face issues of premature aging, early hair loss, osteoporosis because of smoking. In people of the respiratory age group, it has been seen, in young age group, it has been seen that smoking causes reduction in the sperm motility and the sperm count. So there is decreased fertility, when one smokes. When a young female smokes, she is less likely to get pregnant. So there is decreased fertility even in females. Secondly, if a pregnant lady smokes or has exposure to smoke, she is more likely to have intrauterine growth retardation, intrauterine fetal death. Risk of premature delivery is higher, and risk of having an intrauterine growth retardation and a low birth weight baby is also high. It is not just the person who smokes who gets affected. There is something called as a second-hand smoke or passive smoking, in which the people who stay with them, so people who stay with them in their house, people who get exposed to the smoke in their offices or in public places like hotels or bars or pubs, also get exposed to this smoke when somebody is smoking, and they also have the same effects which a smoker has. Now, how do you classify a smoker? A non-smoker is a person who has never smoked in his life or has smoked less than 100 cigarettes in his life, his or her. I would like to say his or her lifetime, because nowadays in the era of feminism, girls are also catching up with the boys. Now, occasional smoker is a person who has smoked but not on daily basis. Daily smoker is a person who has smoked on daily basis for at least 3 months. Now, a non-smoker, ex-smoker is one person who has quit smoking for at least 6 months. Now we will be discussing about the smoking severity scale, in which you have mild, moderate and severe or high. A person who smokes less than 20 cigarettes per day is called as a mild smoker. A person smoking around 20 to 40 cigarettes per day is called as a moderate smoker. And a person who smokes more than 40 cigarettes per day is called as a high smoker, a chain smoker. In spite of knowing all these side effects of smoking, deleterious effects of smoking, why do people still continue to smoke? These are some of the theories. There is a fear of managing the craving. If I stop, how will I manage? I will have a lot of cravings, I will have a lot of urges. Then there is a loss of primary coping mechanism. There is emotional attachment, emotional instability, and there is a self-reward. These are some of the theories. Now, when I talk of loss of primary coping mechanism, there are 4 categories of belief which the smokers have. So firstly, there is a skeptic belief. When I talk of skeptic belief, it means that a person sees all these literature stating that smoking is harmful for his health, but still he sees a lot of celebrities smoking, he sees doctors smoking, he sees dentists smoking. He feels if these people are smoking, it must not be that bad, right? So I can continue to smoke. This is one belief which is called the skeptic belief. He doesn't believe all the literature. And secondly, there is something called as a bulletproof belief. In this, every person, including myself, maybe all you people also, at some point of our times, we think that when somebody smokes, he will get the disease. I am some sort of superhuman, I am some sort of Brahmastra, I have some power, so I will not be affected by these diseases which common people are affected with, which is called the bulletproof theory, which is very common. While doing anything, we always think कि नहीं मुझे ये नहीं होगा, बाकी लोगों को मेरा immunity बहुत अच्छा है. So this is one belief. Then there is worth it belief. There is a very one common saying in Hindi कि जिंदगी नहीं मिलेगी दोबारा. So you enjoy your life, have a good time. So this is worth it. What's the problem if I smoke one cigarette? This is called the worth it belief. Then there is a jungle belief that eventually everybody is going to die. So rather I also have this cigarette and then now, after discussing all these things about smoking and tobacco addiction, it is very pertinent to state that tobacco cessation or smoking cessation is a very important arm of treatment which is given to patients of COPD and other respiratory ailments. Also, guide for counseling for tobacco cessation, we have primarily the 5A approach, which is ask, advise, assess, assist and arrange. So first and foremost, you should be asking the patient whether he is really willing to giving up smoking. Okay, because if that is not the case, then there is no use in pursuing this smoking cessation campaign with any person. Then you have to ask him regarding any difficulties which he will be facing while quitting the smoking. Then we advise the patient to quit. Because many times when we ask the patient, he has come with his wife or he has come with his parents and he says, yes, I want to quit smoking. But there are certain body languages which you might see which might indicate otherwise. He might have a smirk on his face, he might look other ways. So always ask the patient whether he is really keen to quit smoking. Then you advise the patient to quit. And thirdly, assess the readiness to quit. Now, assessment is done on the basis of Fagerstrom's nicotine dependence score, which is different for smoking form of tobacco and different for a smokeless form of tobacco, which we will come to later on. Then we assist the patient in the quit attempts. Again, we will come to that later on. And then we will arrange for follow-up. These are the 5 A's of tobacco cessation. Then we have 5 D's for quitting, which is also very important. Whenever a person has an urge to smoke or light up a cigarette, he should delay the urge. In some time the cravings will pass. He should drink plenty of water, keep himself hydrated, distract himself or herself, because again I repeat, nowadays the female gender is also coming equally on males with smoking habit. Then deep breathing, which will again stabilize the autonomic nervous system, and discuss the feelings with a friend or with a relative or with your therapy giver. These are the 5 D's for quitting. Then we talked of the 5A strategy. Now certain people are unwilling to quit smoking. So in such people we give the 5R model for tobacco users who are unwilling to quit. Now what is this 5R model? 5R model is relevance, risks, rewards, roadblocks and repetition. Now relevance means whatever justification you give to the patient should be relevant to his situation. Now suppose you are explaining it to an old person, you will have to tell him you have the risk of developing lung cancer. If you are explaining the smoking cessation to a young person, it has to be, you have to tell him you might have less fertility. If there is a young female in front of you, you have to tell her you will age prematurely, you will lose hair, skin might lose its glow. So the explanation which you give has to be relevant to the, personally relevant to that patient. Secondly, the risk. You have to explain the risk that this smoking habit of yours is a risk not just to yourself but even to your near and dear ones, your family members, your children, all of them face the potentially negative consequences of your tobacco use. Thirdly, you talk of rewards. So each person when he smokes, one cigarette costs around 17 to 18 rupees per cigarette. So if a person is smoking around 10 cigarettes per day, he is spending around 180 rupees per day for smoking. So that works up to around somewhere between 540 rupees per month. So that is around 60,000 rupees or 70,000 rupees per year, which is a huge amount. So you can tell him that you will be saving that much amount, and that is a financial reward for not smoking. You will be saving that money. Secondly, the rewards are also immediate improvement in the health and prevention of a lot of number of preventable diseases like lung cancer and COPD. Now when a person tries to quit, he faces a number of roadblocks, which might be either physical roadblocks or psychological roadblocks. The clinician is to ask the patient to identify these impediments to quitting and note the elements of treatment for this. Quitting of the smoking is not at all an easy thing. There are bound to be many failures. In spite of these failures, we have to continuously repeat the things to the patient, and after all his multiple attempts, he is bound to succeed one time. What are the health benefits of quitting smoking? So we talked of all the deleterious effects and all the side effects of smoking on the healthy person. But a statement by WHO states that just the decision to quit smoking is a potentially life-saving decision. So as soon as possible, a person should quit smoking and using tobacco products, so that there will be improvement in the health in short term, and in the long term there will be a lot of health benefits. So within 20 minutes of stopping smoking, the heart rate and blood pressure normalizes. Within 12 hours of stopping smoking, it has been observed that carbon monoxide level in the blood drops down to normal. Within 2 days of quitting smoking, the ability to smell and taste improves. Within 12 weeks of smoking cessation, blood circulation improves and lung function increases. After 1 year of quitting, the risk of coronary artery disease is about half of a smoker. Within 5 years of quitting, stroke risk is reduced to that of a non-smoker. And after 10 years of smoking cessation, it has been observed that the risk of lung cancer, oral cancers, GI cancers is almost equal to that of a non-smoker. So it is never too late to mend our ways and stop this smoking habit. Now we will come to the assessment of a smoker by using a Fagerstrom test for nicotine dependence. We have a separate score for smoking and separate score for smokeless tobacco. But we will concentrate on the smoking over here. Fagerstrom test for nicotine dependence. So this is a scoring system based on few questions where the points are given. So the questions are, how soon after you wake do you light up your first cigarette? So if it is less than 5 minutes, then you have 3 points. If it is 6 to 30 minutes, then you have 2 points. 31 to 60 minutes, then you have 1 point, and more than an hour, it's 0 point. The second question is, do you find it hard to refrain from smoking in places where it is forbidden, that is in public places? You have scoring system. Then what cigarettes would you hate the most giving up? Then the fourth question is, how many cigarettes per day do you smoke? Fifth question is, do you smoke more during first few hours after waking up? And the sixth question is, do you smoke if you are still in the bed? So depending on these questions, we have a scoring system. Now in this scoring system, we have a score of 0 to 3, which indicates that there is no or low tobacco dependence. A score of 4 to 6 indicates that there is a medium tobacco dependence. And a score of 7 to 10 indicates that there is a high tobacco dependence or a tobacco addiction. Now in case of a low score, that is a score of 0 to 3, patient need not be given a nicotine replacement therapy or NRT, or he can be treated with a single agent of nicotine replacement therapy, NRT, which is either lozenge, a gum, or inhaler, or a nasal spray. It is interesting to point that the lozenges and gums are available over the counter in our country. Inhalers and nicotine sprays are prescription medications which are not so freely available. We will come to the nicotine replacement therapy in a few moments. In moderate, a score of 4 to 6 is generally treated with a combination of nicotine replacement therapy. There is a long-acting one with a short-acting one. We will come to that, why we use a combination in these moderate cases. Then a high score of 7 to 10 is treated with a combination of a nicotine replacement therapy with an oral agent like varenicline or bupropion. Now when we talk of success in quitting or treatment, our treatment which we will give the patient, our assistance, our help, the treatment which we will give him will determine the success, whether it is a crash landing or whether it is a smooth landing. Now this nicotine replacement therapy is classified either into long-acting or short-acting ones. Now these long-acting ones are transdermal patches and short-acting ones are gums, lozenges, nasal sprays and inhalers. So basically we will discuss in detail about the over-the-counter preparations, the lozenges and the gums which are available freely in the market. I think Cipla manufactures Nico gum. Long-acting transdermal patch. Now this is basically a skin patch. You can see in the image how it is applied. Now the skin patch is generally a 24-hour skin patch, so it has to be applied daily. Now the skin patch, the onset of action is slightly slow. So the plasma level of the nicotine gradually increases, then it reaches a steady level and then it maintains a steady level for a long period of time, maybe for 20 hours or so. 2 to 3 hours prior to removing the patch, it just starts dropping down. So this is a long-acting delivery system, transdermal patch. It's very important to dose a nicotine patch. It is very pertinent for all of you to realize that one cigarette contains 1 milligram of nicotine. So a person who is smoking 2 packets or 20 cigarettes per day must use a 21 milligram patch, because if you don't maintain the dosage and the steady level of plasma for nicotine is not maintained, then the person will have breakthrough urges of breathing, smoking or lighting up, and then there will be a higher chance of failure or relapse. There will be a higher chance of relapse. Now we have short-acting nicotine replacement therapy. As we already discussed, the gums, chewing gums are available over the counter. Nasal sprays and inhalers are prescription medications. Now the chewing gums are available in generally 2 milligram and 4 milligram doses. If we smoke less than 1 packet per day, use 2 milligram gum. If smoking more than 1 packet per day, use 4 milligram gums. Now many times we see that the patient comes to us saying कि मैं दिन में 10 chewing gum खाता हूँ, मुझे कोई असर ही नहीं होता है. Because there is a technique of chewing the nicotine gum. It is not to be chewed like a routine chewing gum. It has to be first bitten continuously till you feel a peppery taste in your mouth, and then it has to be packed between the gum and the teeth, so that the steady level of plasma is maintained. Now these gums, they are a shorter acting delivery system. So the duration of action, though it is shorter, the onset of action tends to be faster because it is absorbed faster through the buccal mucosa. Now due to this in chronic smokers who have been smoking for a long period of time and who have a high pack years, they are given a combination of both transdermal patch and gums, because when the transdermal patch slowly rises, the level slowly rises before it reaches the steady state, they many times have breakthrough urges of having the light or having a fag. So at that point of time, they can just pop in a nicotine gum. So a combination might be used for those who have a high phagostrom nicotine dependent state. So these are nicotine replacement therapies which are available by prescription. So these are not very freely available over the counter. You have inhalers and nasal sprays which are available. Now all of them get absorbed in the mucosal tissue of the mouth and nose. While one is having nicotine replacement therapy, it is better to avoid acidic food and drinks. Now there is something called the e-cigarettes which are available in the market. There is a trend amongst the younger population of vaping or e-cigarettes. Some people think that this is a safer alternative to cigarettes, but some people even think that it is a alternative to nicotine replacement therapy. But it is not a controlled or a regulated product, one. Secondly, safety has not yet been established. So that is why there is no recommendations for its use from any of the controlling authorities. Various prescription medicines which are available in the market for nicotine replacement therapy are bupropion, which is an antidepressant which drives the dopamine levels in the brain up, so reduces and prevents the withdrawal symptoms. Then you have varenicline, which mimics the presence of nicotine in the nervous system and attaches to the nicotinic receptors in the brain. This is not effective to use this nicotine replacement therapy when using these medications. This has to be used singly. Great American, I would just finish this talk over here. Great American playwright Mark Twain once said, "Quitting smoking is very easy. I have done it hundreds of times." Thank you so much.